You are listening to Chai with the CEO, a Random Genius Media original.
Excellent. So, welcome Mandar Thakur to our little show called Chai with the CEO. Been a long time coming. You're a tough man to get, but I'm really glad to have you on the show. You're one of my first picks, actually, in the first list, and it's taken time, but I'm sure we'll have a good conversation. So, hope you're feeling fine today and a little free from the
Yes,
business.
absolutely.
Excellent. Excellent.
Firstly, thank you for having me here. I think having known each other for, I think, well over 2.5 decades,
Yes.
I think it's the first time that we are doing something like this. So more than anything else, more than chai with the CEO, it's virtual chai with a friend. So I'm very happy
Yes.
to do this. So
Yes.
I'll
Yes.
take you on a beer separately.
Correct. So we'll do beer with the boardroom guy. So before I get ahead of myself, I have a little intro to play for you,
Okay.
a little formal intro for maybe the one or two people who don't know you. So just allow me a second, and here we go.
Today on Chai with the CEO, we're brewing up something legendary with the man who shaped the sound of modern India, Mandar Thakur. From his early days at Channel V to running Times Music, he's been the silent force behind some of the biggest moves in the industry. A global thinker, an artist whisperer, and a true A&R ninja. Mandar isn't just in the music business. He is the music business. So grab your chai. This one's going to hit all the right notes.
Wow,
Excellent.
that was
So,
flattering.
yeah, so just give me a sec. So, just to kind of embarrass you a little further, we should also inform people that you sit on the boards of the IMI, IPRS, PPL, and PDL. And this year, Music Expo 2025 named you the International Music Person of the Year. So,
Yes, very
congrats,
much.
Mandar.
Thank you
You're
very much.
you're flying high, and yes, not just beer. I think a biryani is due. Is that still your
Sure.
favorite food?
Absolutely. It is the
Excellent.
only food.
It's the only food. So, how's the music business? What's happening? Give us a quick update.
I think the music business is like it's like music itself. Sometimes you hit the right note and sometimes you don't. And um, to put a corporate twang to this, I think the music business is obviously possibly the most amazing business because there's never a dull day, ever, ever. I mean, not in my last 33 years doing this has there been a dull day. Coming to today, how is the music business? Well, I mean, it's still fun. It's just that I think today to just call it a mere music business from where we are with technology, AI, with all the short format stuff, we have to understand that whilst the fundamentals of the business remain the same, the music business has grown now into an audience business, right? So I don't know about the others, but we define ourselves at Times Music now by not just being in the music business, but actually being in the business of audiences. That's what we are as a bridge, using music as a medium to audiences. So it's still fun, it's still exciting. As we speak here today, the music business is going through one of its market forces thing. A subscription moves from free to paid subscription. So long-term thing, music isn't working. Bollywood is falling down left, right, center. You have far more music coming out than the audiences can listen to. The concert business is shooting up more than the digital business. So yeah, I mean, it is a tumultuous moment, and possibly the right time to be talking about it.
Excellent. And you still have hair on your head, which is
I do, I do, I do.
shows how calm you are. So, Mandar, before we proceed, let's just rewind a bit, right? Because this show is meant to not just entertain but inform as well. So, how did you start out? Going back in time. I think it was the entertainment company. So you primarily started out in events, right? You want to give some, folks a quick snapshot of your journey thus far?
Yeah. I'll give a very quick, abridged version of, I think, of a speech that I made when I was getting my award
Okay.
this March in the city of Burbank. I think one of the things that I did and I value a lot, almost about anything else in life, is to show up um, and to get things done. So I don't even value talent as much. I don't value skill sets as much as these two things, right? So I was, I grew up in Thana, which is a small suburb, and I grew up at a time when there were no hardly any record companies. There was really no MTV, Channel V, leave alone the internet. Hardly any shows happening. So there was just a burning, and honestly, I didn't know what else to do. It wasn't such a deep passion for music that I was bullshitting myself that, oh, it's now either this or that. It's just that I grew up into it. I loved it. It was sexy. I thought it'll make me meet a few chicks, and honestly, kind of get free entry into concerts and kind of be the cool guy. For all the absolutely frivolous reasons, I got into the music business, and I fell in love with it day in, day out, and I started managing a band. That's how I started off. It was a band called Crisis, and I used to do lights. Actually, that was my first job, doing lighting for rock concerts, fashion shows. I got into managing a band, and having done that, that was a time of the early '90s when MTV was coming in. Star TV had erupted. This was the dawn of television. So I'm glad that I got to experience the beginning of the management era and cover version concerts back at the time. I also got to experience and be a very significant force in the creation of television and the creation of music television in this country. And that's where my stint with Channel V started. I actually went with one of the band members to Hong Kong, Suraj Jagan. I'm eternally grateful for him. And we went to find fame and fortune. Money could only take us to Hong Kong, so we landed up there. And I got a job, got a very lucky break, again, because I showed up with a gentleman called Anders Nelson, my first mentor, who ran one of the biggest concert promotion companies in Asia. And again, like I said, I landed up there because you don't talk, you just go show up and you do it. And I called whoever I had to call from Yellow Pages and newspapers and calling concert hotlines, and landed up there and worked with Anders. Huge learning experience of international touring back in the day. And then I came back to India, and Channel V was starting off, and I was part of the very few people who helped create the culture of music television in this country. So that's really the background with Channel V. And then the internet came upon us, 7, 8 years later, and I got bored of television. I get bored very soon. And at that point of time, one of our biggest competitors, a guy called Sudhanshu Sarunwala, who was starting off, who used to run MTV for Asia, was starting off Soundbuzz, which was the very first digital music distribution company in Asia. And who did he come to help, start up the company? And that was their worst competitor, which was us. And we all were the founding team of Soundbuzz. We helped create the digital music distribution business across Asia, 9 countries, led by Singapore, Southeast Asia, Australia, and India. I was part of the senior management team besides being on that founding team. And we successfully sold the company in the first M&A transaction in Asia in that space. We sold it to Motorola. We got acquired by them. And then another couple of years working with Motorola, helping them build up Moto Music as they had their own challenges. And I could, till my options vested, I could only do consulting. And Times was a client along with many other people, Moj at that point of time, Anupam Mittal's company, and a few others. And Time just said, stop taking our consultancy dime and come do some real hard work. And here I am, 14 years later.
Awesome. Awesome. So
So
you've actually, your career basically is the high points, low points of the music business, as it were. You've seen it
absolutely.
all, seen it, been there, done that kind
Mm.
of thing. What so? I guess your advice to newcomers would be show up and, get stuff done, right? Or get shit done.
I think I'd like to redefine that as been there doing that.
Been there doing that. Fair
Yeah,
enough. Fair
yeah.
enough.
But having said that, yeah, I think, that's just too much rubbish, right? These days, I think a lot of newcomers want to learn the business. They want to, like, who really gives a shit about learning this business, right? I mean, you make it up as you go by. I think people come to conferences with a little notepad and they come to network, they come to understand vision. Man, like, I mean, like I said, you got to be in this business not necessarily for the right reasons. I didn't even know I was going to make a career out of this, right? I mean, it took me 4 or 5 years between standard 11th, standard 12th, right? And beyond a point, I thought this was a waste of my time. And honestly, like I said, I did it for all the wrong reasons. I didn't even know. My biggest thing is to ensure that I put one foot in front of the other and I don't fall, right? I mean, so it kind of stuns me when people take themselves so seriously to get in this business. Man, you like it, it's a great business, it's music. I mean, you'll eventually learn this shit as you go by. So yes, I would agree that if I have to tell somebody something, don't stalk, just show up, work for free, get the experience, and do shit on your own. Just get it done.
Yeah, that's advice worth its weight in gold. If your career had a soundtrack, which three tracks would make it, and which would definitely be banned, according to you?
I don't think that there's anything that's going to be bad. That's for that sure, except for the genres of music that I don't like. But I think music is, to me, like my great friend and one of my biggest mentors in life, Seymour Stein, legendary A&R guy. He always used to say, right, and I've learned from him for 25, 26 years that there is no genre of music. There's bad music and there's good music, right? And
Yeah,
very few is bad. So towards that end, I grew up listening to heavy metal and rock. That's where my heart lies. And eventually learn everything when you do the roles of programming at TV stations and so on and so forth. But if there is a soundtrack to my life, mostly it would be made up of some of the best bands that I listened to when I was growing up, because your formative years, music has a great influence on your life, right? Because what you listen to music today is different from when you're in your formative years. So your essential soundtrack really comes from that point of time. So all the bands that I listened to at that time were all bands that people grew up with. I was an early fan of Guns N' Roses. So I wouldn't say there's a couple of songs as such, but I think there are moments, right? At that, those moments form mostly on the bedrock of rock, a lot of
correct,
my soundtrack.
correct. So between Channel V and Times Music, how many musicians have pitched you with, bro, just listen to this. It's a banger.
I gotta show you my so here's the thing that happens, and which is I said, stop stalking, right? I mean, people these days assume that if you accept their connection on some Insta or something, that they have the right to DM you and say, hey, I've sent you this song, and then one day later say you haven't reverted back, right? Those are the mails that with sheer joy, I don't look at them. I don't even care if there's a great hit in them. That's it. That's my attitude. But having said that, I think I've come across some of the most amazing people, musicians and artists in the last 33 years, not just with Channel V, even before Channel V. You have to remember, I started off as an artist manager for the first 2 years of my life. So I think I'd still take the attitude. When you say gets things done, show up, those are the attributes of not a label guy, attributes of management, right? And my heart still lies in that. I think it's getting difficult to find really talented artists, because back at the time when you were starting up and through the years, artists were dependent only on their instincts and art and the madness that goes with the space. Artists today are dependent on data, instincts, which are more consensus rather than instincts, and are dependent so much more on where they want to be. It's fake ambition, right? It's a lot of fakeness, that which also explains the reason that if you look at trajectory and data in the last 10 years of artists in India and in the United States, superstars, right? Artists who stand the test of time, those will be less than 60 or 70 all across the board. I'm talking high level, not the middle class of artists, right? And I think the what we are lacking is personalities. You're lacking depth, right? And I'm glad to have met a lot of them in my life, like a lot. So even the guys who were, hey, bro, listen to this, some of them I've been wrong on many of them, and some of them have gone to have great careers. But very lucky like that. It's just the last 5 years or so, it's been, you get very badly bombarded with crap, right? And it's sometimes very hard to separate the wheat from the chaff. If I feel that something is worth listening to, or if I feel uniqueness and novelty in an approach, I almost 100% listen to it, or I will still meet the person. I still love meeting younger kids. I still love meeting very young artists. I still love meeting young entrepreneurs. To me, an artist and a young entrepreneur is the same thing. So a lot of them, yeah.
Correct. What's the strangest place you've found an artist? Um,
I mean, so as the cool the cool saying of the music business, you hit the clubs back in the day and you find artists. I've never really found any such thing, but I've had some really great experiences seeing artists play before they broke big, right? Because mostly in my years at Channel V, I have to say, I mean, Aqua, Barbie Girl, one of the biggest bands in the world at that point, right? Dance acts. We saw them, I mean, literally their management and label Universe Polygram at that time had to beg us all at the end of the Mid-Am conference in Hong Kong. Guys, it's been 1 week. I know you guys are drunk out, had fun, met people. Just come, it's a last act. And we all landed up for fun, and we were just blown away by the sheer energy of, I forgot her name, and that's it. And from that day on, they played Barbie Girl, and we were like, what the fuck? Wow, that is great. And for them to then transform into one of the biggest bands in the world. We had the same experience with Michael Learns to Rock back in the day when we toured them. But when my boss, Jeff Murray, at that point, again, a great mentor, when he got that and he sent this thing across, right? We were like, wow, okay. I mean, it's not, maybe it's not all the time that it's music you listen to all the time in your home. But we felt that given Asia, the band had something, again, went on to become very big. I saw the Cranberries when they were breaking big with on a you know on a in the Hong Kong Stadium. My early days at Channel with Tom Freston, the man who built MTV, created MTV, and Jeff Murray on one side, and the Hong Kong governor sitting somewhere, and Dolores O'Riordan on breaking it. I mean, that's it, and that was the such a beginning of their trajectory to bait. So there's endless stories of acts who have really broken up. A lot of the acts from the 90s have seen them much earlier, because there was so much going on in this part of the world. So yeah, quite a lot. If you look at that in India, I mean, we helped break so many of them: Silk Road, Lucky Ali, Daler Mendi, Alisha Chinoy, Sunita Rao. I mean, just tons and tons. That whole indie pop era, thanks to people like Atul Chudamani, one of the greatest A&R people at a time. And I was just doing, there was no MTV. We were just doing the Channel V act at that time. So every time thing that Magnus Sound would page, I would pick up and blindly trust. As much as you like the act, you trust the A&R guy behind it. That's how this business works. And
Correct.
break so many of them, Sukhbir, you name it.
Correct.
It was amazing. Yeah. So I've had that. It's luck and gratitude for that.
Correct. Yeah, and Atul was telling us how the initial Colonial Cousins track took a year. The album took a year and a half to materialize, and the video took 4 months thereafter,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
stuff does take time. I mean, um, today I guess a lot of the generation, everyone's into fast fashion and everyone wants quick results, right? But these
Yeah.
processes take time.
Yeah.
How do you train your team to not get too cynical about stuff, right? And put personal prejudices aside when listening to new artists? Uh,
Uh, I think, look, it would be I think dispassionate is the word
Dispassionate,
people
yes.
try to find for what is essentially a passionate listen, right? So, as much as we like to think that we may be able to listen to something dispassionately, to listen to it, this business is formed by belief,
Yeah,
right? On the one hand, if you're a it depends which part of the ecosystem you're in, right? Whether you're in the one man deciding whether I'm going to sign up this act or this piece of music will work, or whether because A&R has different shapes, right? Or whether you're a studio guy that says change this, change that, and change the wording, you'll get this, or you're a person who's an expert in the market, or you're like a manager A&R guy, like a champion, right? There are many ways to it. Some great people also work in programming who have a great ear for music. So it's impossible to be 100% dispassionate about the decisions that you make, especially in business that's got so much passion and belief. But I think it's a constant struggle to tell people don't bring your opinion. So there's a difference in being passionate about a genre, an act, and a piece of music, and to get behind it till you believe it so much and push for it, with your eyes and ears being open to listening to what the audience is saying. And there's a difference between sort of saying, here's my opinion, right? There are two different things. I tend to gravitate towards the first, where you need to bring a certain level of belief into something, but that belief has to be based on not an opinion, but based on the music itself, or a certain set of understanding of where it fits, right? Because all music that gets made is not art. And we have to keep that in mind.
correct. What's the strangest entourage story that you've come across or that you've had to deal with that
So,
you can tell us about?
yeah, Seymour Stein, who we spoke about.
Timo Stein, yes.
Seymour, bless him, he just passed away a couple of years back, was the last of the living legends that defined 60s and 80s, right? I mean, these are the people who created modern pop culture in America as we know it.
Correct.
And what happened was that I had a I had the privilege and the luck of working with or having met some of the biggest superstars on earth and the people behind them. So that level of exposure for somebody in their 20s is far bigger than even a Stanford or Harvard education, right? It's and I've like I said, I've been constantly lucky to have bumped into geniuses. Some part of that luck I've attracted because I showed up, right? Some part of the luck was the universe gifting somebody who just showed up. And because of that, I've had a very good deco inside how some of the greatest minds in our world operate, right? Having said that, some of the greatest minds in our world are also as crazy as batshit crazy, right? And I think it's not one particular incident. The folks in the music industry are as crazy as some of the stars that they spawn, right? But the early fun used to be all the riders that you would get in when I was working with Anders at the entertainment company. Right down to I have a story about Bob Dylan. We worked on this show in 1993 or 94, and Chris Patton, the guy who handed over Hong Kong back to China, the British governor of the territory,
Yeah.
he was going to come for the show, and I was backstage, right? And coming from Rang Bhavan and working with the local acts, and start the fucking music and all of that crap, and then going and drinking a quarter after that. Different from when you go backstage at a big international tour and you see everybody, nobody's really drinking and getting laid back, right? Everyone's kind of on laptops and doing the account setting with the promoter. There's people, there's security, and there's, of course, a backstage area. And I think Bob Dylan only ate fish. And that was like, fuck, he's Bob Dylan, for someone in his 20s. Why is he not eating everything possible? Why is he not like, and of course, there was a particular kind of fish, right? And somebody actually ate his fish. So at that point, I was the only guy in this huge backstage area. And Bob comes in and he's opening this little buffet style table and go, oh, where's my fish? Where's my fish? And I'm like, okay, that's Bob Dylan looking for his fish, and he didn't get any fish, and he didn't make a big hue and cry about it. So, and I was like, how can he not get his fish? So I made a hue and cry for him, and eventually it just turned out into a funny joke. It was 1994, February or March 1994. I remember that. I also remember, I think it was a Simply Red show with Mick Hucknall, who I think had a couple of, let's say, I think a couple of women of ill repute that he had to pick up on the way. It's rock stars, right? And whilst doing some certain level of substance, has just told the driver of the limousine to just keep roaming around the Hong Kong Coliseum for at least an hour till he was done with it. And there's many such stories. I mean, I had the privilege of taking Robert Plant and Jimmy Page all across town down to where Pandit Ravi Shankar had told them. We took them to Kayani's bakery. You also had Jimmy Page and Robert fascinated by behind the Taj there used to be a little strip bar called Blue Nile, just disgusting as hell. It wasn't what you imagine, like really some crazy strip bar. It was just the opposite end of it. And I could imagine, both of them sort of saying, "Hey, we need to go relieve our past, and let me just go back and see what's up." So, I think walking along with some names, legendary names, right? There's many stories, maybe over the beer that we were.
Maybe over the beer and biryani, we'll
Yeah.
catch up. We'll catch up and talk shop. I was, maybe we can just end with a little bit of management speak for the students who are listening in. What's your management style, Mandar? What would you say is your management style? Is it fun, party, or hit your numbers and then party? What's the diktat at office?
I I honestly don't know. I just think for myself, as I go through my phases in life, as much as will be anybody watching this, I think you evolve, right? Like I said, I didn't set out to be a manager. I didn't set out to be a CEO. Life just brought me here. Like I said, putting one step in front of the other. But I'm effectively a non-manager from that sense. I come from an entrepreneurial and a performance-based culture. So, um, you constantly evolve. If you ask me where I am today, I am today where the state of the business is, right? Today at Times Music, I don't know whether you know, but about 2 years back, we did a joint venture. This was again the biggest joint venture in monetary terms, the biggest investment in Asia that came into a music company in India. So we are partners, our shareholders now, the Times Group, owned by Vineet Jain, and he's the majority shareholder. Our other shareholders is Primary Wave,
Primary,
so the
yes.
leading independent publisher of music and owners of so many of the most legendary artists and their estates in the world. It's a very unique company, and we're so today, we find ourselves, we grew Times Music like an entrepreneurial business, and we grew and we grew and we grew. But today we're at a stage where we're about to scale very rapidly. We're in a stage where the business is going through not just anyone, but the whole Indian music industry is going through a change cycle. Happens every 7 or 8 years, and to us that's the opportunity because we don't have to go back to compete. We start from where we are. And having said that, my style today really is about understanding the maturity of where the organization is, what is the shareholder value I'm giving back. And if you look at it when you are in the mode of investing in the business and scaling up to a newer future, not the future you knew yesterday, you take a look at it as a investment, right? You take a look at it like you're doing it mutual fund whilst keeping the art intact. So today, I think we are, the message I'd like to send out is that we are in a only performance-based culture today because that's what the business needs. Tomorrow, if the business needs something else, either that style will evolve or somebody else will do this job.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, Mandar. Really, really nice talking to you, and look forward to catching up for that beer and some biryani.
Thank you. Thank you,
Take
Sheldon.
care. Thank you so
I
much.
know it's taken a while, but I'm glad we did it. Thank you for your patience.
Excellent. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye.
You are listening to Chai with the CEO, a Random Genius Media original.